The Gemara in Shabbos, Daf Chav Ches, deals with the issue of, was the tachash, one of the animals used in the Melechus HaMishkan, in the building in the Mishkan, was it a kosher animal or not? And the Gemara raises that question. It goes through a discussion. The Gemara concludes, based on a pasuk in Tehillim and other things, that every one-horned animal is kosher. Hence the tachash was a kosher animal. However, the Gemara had a whole discussion that went into, is it necessary to have a kosher animal if something you're going to use in the Mishkan? So the Gemara quotes the pasuk in Parashas Bo, "L'mantia Torah Hashem beficha," a pasuk regarding the mitzvah of tefillin, and it says that the Torah Hashem should be beficha. So what does that mean? The Torah Hashem should be in your mouth. So the Gemara makes a drasha, min amutta beficha, something which is permitted. In other words, when you in the manufacturing and the making of tefillin, one has to be from kosher animals. When you make the parchment for the tefillin, it must be something, min amutta beficha, must be from a kosher animal, something which is permitted to eat. And that's what the pasuk says regarding the parchment in the tefillin. And then Rabbi Yossi brings down a halacha, then comes on, I think Rabbi Yosef, perhaps it's halacha Moshe Misinai, perhaps it's a din d'Rabbanan, that for Melecha Shamayim, for works of heaven, you require to use kosher animals, or behema, from behema tahora bilbad. So the question the Gemara has is, what do I need Rabbi Yosef to come along and tell me this halacha of you have to use in avodas Hashem, you have to use or behema tahora bilbad? We have a pasuk. L'mantia Torah Hashem beficha. We already know it from a pasuk in Chumash. So the Gemara talks about, so maybe for the shin, maybe it's referring to the shin on your tefillin, and that's why you need it. No, but that's covered in Lantia Torah Hashem Beficha, and the Tzvas Emes explains we have a hekesh to compare tefillin shel yad shel tefillin shel rosh, and therefore it applies equally to both batim on the tefillin shel yad and tefillin shel rosh, and therefore the Gemara concludes, so if I don't need it for the batim and the tefillin, the boxes and the tefillin, so what do I need it for? Ela l'ritzuos. It comes to teach me I need it for the straps on the tefillin. On the straps on the tefillin, so from the pasuk L'mantia Torah Hashem beficha v'amutta beficha, that's the parchment, and it's also the tefillin boxes. How do I know there are ritzuos, the straps on the tefillin? That's from this halacha of it has to be from hukshu v'melecha shamayim or behema Torah bilbad. And the Tzvas Emes and others says, but what about the ritzuos? They also have letters on them. So don't they have the letter in the back? So in fact, that's a similar, there's a machlokas Rashi and Tosfos regarding what's the status of a tefillin bag. Is the tefillin bag considered tashmishe kedusha or tashmishe mitzvah, tashmish to tashmish? In other words, if you assume the bottom are covered up in the boxes, you have other boxes that you have tefillin boxes, you put the tefillin in. So the only thing touching the tefillin bag directly are the ritzuos, the straps. So what is the status of the ritzuos? If the status of the ritzuos, because if you assume those letters are tashmishe kedusha, so then the tefillin bags are tashmishe kedusha. But if the straps are in anything, they're not considered letters. They're only like a tashmish, or to the bag would be a tashmish to tashmish, and therefore it wouldn't be a problem, let's say, in terms of putting them into shemas. We're machmer for Shitas Harashi that we bury them. But similar here, so we assume they're not considered letters, they're only considered their straps, that have suras ha'os, but they're not considered os. So that's the Gemara's conclusion. What the conclusion, it definitely applies to tefillin and the ritzuos. The question is, what about to the Mishkan? It wasn't clear from the Mishkan itself, from the conclusion of the Gemara, whether you have to use kosher animals, all kosher ingredients for the Mishkan. It seems to be a machlokas rishonim, because the Rabbeinu Bachai seems to say that no, there was only kosher animals used in the Meleches HaMishkan, and therefore he says after there was no silk, different things used. And other Rishonim, the Ibn Ezra and others say no, there were things used from non-kosher animals. In fact, the mashay was used. So it's a machlokas rishonim whether we apply this principle hukshu l'mecha shamayim only to ritzuas, or does it also apply to the Meleches HaMishkan? Some rishonim say yes, some rishonim no. There's an interesting machlokas in the Achronim, the Magen Avram, and other Achronim, whether it's limited to the mitzvah of tefillin, or does it apply to shar mitzvahs as well? So there's an interesting Ran in Rosh Hashanah, which is mistapik, is misupik, whether you need a ram from a kosher animal when you when you make a shofar. Because he, clears his issue, is it limited to the tefillin or applies to all mitzvahs? And he also says another reason why shofar perhaps could be different. The Gemara compares it to being kluf nimdami, so maybe it's even more. So that's the machlokas achronim between the Ramah quotes the din by shofar, so whether he goes like the Magen Avram that all mitzvahs and maybe shofar is different. So a raya that seems to be a good raya for the Magen Avram would be is because the Gemara in Sukkah, which says that you're allowed to use elephants for the walls of the Sukkah, and elephants are in kosher. So Bishlam, according to the Magen Avram, that applies to all mitzvahs, but then tachash on the Magen Avram. How can the Magen Avram say that if we see by Sukkah you're allowed to use an elephant? And it seems to be a raya according to the opinions that it doesn't apply. So the Aruch HaShulchan says there's no raya. What would the Magen Avram answer? The Magen Avram would answer that when do we have this halacha, that's when you have to use a behema. So when it comes to shofar, when it comes to other things where you need to use an animal, parchment, so then you have to use a kosher animal. But by sukkah, anything is kosher for the walls. Almost anything is kosher for the walls. You can use plastic, canvas, other things. So since you don't have to use animals, so therefore it's not a din in animals, so therefore once you could use any product, so therefore you could use, so maybe the Magen Avram would agree it applies to mitzvahs, but only mitzvahs which you have to use animals. There's a whole similar discussion, but no Rabbi Yehuda discusses shalak on the tefillin, that stuff where you polish the tefillin to make it look black. Does that have to come from a kosher animal? Now, according to the Magen Avram, yes, perhaps even according to the Magen Avram, it was a big issue years ago. They found that the shlak came from a non-kosher source, and similarly, the Aron Kodesh, a lot of them come from horse leather. So therefore, they point out that, at least by the shalak, that's a yotzi min ha'isur. So perhaps even if you assume that it has to be from a kosher animal, but here already it's a derivative. And in a derivative, we don't go that far. Again, of course, it's a machlokas Rosh, Rabbeinu Yonah, and brachas in terms of by the must. Not the maskam, but this must in terms of something which comes from a non-kosher source. So the question is, once it goes through a chemical change, do we go basa hashta or not? Do we say it's totally disconnected from its original source and therefore it's okay? There's a similar discussion, it's the whole Diet Coke issue on Pesach. Different hashkachas give a kosher for Passover on Diet Coke and others don't. And what's the issue? The issue is that it comes from, the minhag Ashkenaz does not have kitniyas, but how far do we take it? So even a derivative, even something which is yotze mina, something which is, let's say, so generally ramach, or even cornstarch, even things that are a derivative from kidneys we still don't eat. So what about Diet Coke? So there's the derivative, the aspartame, but many say it comes from a chemical change. There's no connection to original, and therefore different kosher organizations, the discussion among the different kashrist groups today, whether you give hashkacha, the MK, which is Sephardi, writes it's good, and I think the COR, I don't know what they're doing this year. In general, COR is against it. Whoever gives, whether it's OU or Chavke, whoever gives this hashkach in the state seems to say it's okay. That seems to be, it has to do with this issue here. So there's a machoket, the Magen Avram and Shar Poskim, and my show for the Ramah is Machmer. It's interesting question the Magen Avram regarding non-kosher oil for Hanukkah use. So some Achronim write that will make by you can even use non-kosher oil when it comes to Hanukkah, because since it's a machokas haposkim between the Magen Avram and others whether it applies. So it's Savik Rabbanu Akul, we could be lenient. Other Achronim, I think the Beis Yitzchak and others write that no, even the Magen Avram would agree that it's different. Why? Based on the following: there's halacha, there's Yerushalmi and Sota. I think it's Rav Shimon's opinion, and you could even write the Megillah Sota from a non-kosher animal. When you write on the parchment, when you're writing the Shem Hashem and everything you're doing, you could even be on a non-kosher animal. How come? So the Gemara says because it's nitan v'machika, since it's going to be destroyed, so therefore apparently so the same halakas don't apply. So similarly, since by Hanukkah the oil is used to be consumed, so perhaps even the Magen Avram would agree that one could use non-kosher oil for Hanukkah lights because it's something which it's like nitan v'machika. So this issue of whether something you're going to use for a mitzvah has to be derived from a kosher source, that has ramifications for many halachas. What's clear is by tefillin it clearly applies. Mishkan, it seems to be a machlokas harishonim, and hence by other mitzvahs, be it shofar, Chanukah, and other issues, it seems to be a machlokas achronim, how far we take this principle of uhukshu v'melecha shemayim or behemoth Torah bilvad, and then in terms of how far you take it in terms of derivatives, whether it applies to a yotzei min ha'isur or not, if it has to be, is it something limited to a mitzvah that demands an animal, but a mitzvah, let's say like sukkah, that doesn't, so maybe everyone would agree that one could use a non-kosher animal. So those are some of the issues that come up in the discussion of, it's in the Gemara Shabbos regarding the discussion of Malachas HaMishkan, which comes from the tachash, which no longer exists anymore. So therefore, we had and therefore the Gemara says Gemai Hilchasa. So Gemai Hilchasa, a talach l'mais in tefillin, and perhaps in other mitzvahs as well.